Nikki, there was an article in a German newspaper this morning that the 76-year-old chairman of VW, Ferdinand Piëch, may be close to retirement. He's denied it, the company's denied it. But it's very interesting, we talk a lot about gender and boards, but not very much about age and boards. It's an interesting topic and a difficult topic, isn't it?
It is. It's surprising that age gets discussed so little. And I mean, Volkswagen is actually quite an interesting case. I mean, Mr. Piëch is a sort of legend in the automotive industry for the way in which he's revived Volkswagen. But 76 is the sort of age at which health problems and things like that may occur, although everyone says he's in good health, etc. And it's not that they have an immediate succession problem in that the current chief executive, Dr. Winterkorn, could move up to be the chairman, but that would then leave gaps further down the line. And curiously enough, while boards have tended to get older, companies are increasingly reluctant to put any kind of constraints on sort of impose age limits. And that does mean that these sort of problems and these sort of stories, I think, will occur more and more.
What are some of the trends? I mean, we know regulators and governments are very keen to put more females on boards, but what is happening to the average age of boards?
Well, there's a variety of studies. Korn Ferry have done quite a lot of work in this area. And broadly speaking, I mean, going back to the sort of 1990s, you'd have under 10% of the board age 70 plus. Now it's a double-digit percentage. So things are changing, and they seem to be changing quite rapidly. Similarly, the percentage of boards that have limits on age-imposed limits seems to be falling away, and I think that probably reflects the fact that it's quite hard to get hold of high-quality directors, particularly non-executive directors. So people don't want to sort of deter good candidates just by saying you can't be aged 65 or more. The picture also varies quite a lot internationally, where companies do impose limits. I mean, it's actually much lower in Japan than it is in North America.
And finally, I mean, we know that boards are meant to represent the interests of shareholders. What sort of mix of ages or optimal ages do you think a board should have then?
Well, personally, I think it should be a range, and I think, you know, if you're selling into consumer markets, perhaps techie markets, and even cars are increasingly sort of tech vehicles, if you see what I mean. It's worth having somebody sort of in their 40s, 30s, or at least a proportion of the board that can represent that sort of segment of the market. And Volkswagen, to be fair to them, are perfect in this respect. They have quite a lot of board members who are in their 40s, and one who's 36 as of the end of last year. But also then up at the other end, they've 70s and 80s.
Well, a range is good, so we wish Ferdinand Piëch many, many more years ahead on the board. Thank you very much for that update, Nikki.